Thank you for joining Wars of the Rosies. And this is Land of Reincarnation, a nation of people who practice and live the Oriental beliefs by the Imperator AMORC. An article from Rosicrucian Digest, Volume 16, Number 4, May 1938. A Land of Reincarnation, a nation of people who practice and live the Oriental beliefs, by the Imperator AMORC. So many of our members and readers believe that only certain religious sects or certain mystical schools of philosophy teach or deal with the subject of reincarnation, and that the doctrines of reincarnation are purely theoretical and have no vital bearing upon the lives of many people living today. Of course, we know that there are thousands of Rosicrucians in this country and in foreign lands whose entire outlook in life and whose faith, hope, and confidence in regard to their own evolution and future possibilities have been broadened and strengthened by their firm belief in the doctrines of reincarnation. To them it seems to be, and has proven, to be the only satisfactory explanation of many of the mysteries of life and many of its seeming injustices. But I want to speak now of a country and nation of people who are living the life of reincarnationists, and have been doing so for hundreds of years. They are so convinced and so positive about the soundness and correctness of the doctrine of reincarnation that it governs all of their daily actions, all of their thinking, and all of their political, social, and business activities. And we do not have to go to any isolated section of India or Africa, nor to any jungle land, nor to the primitive huts of an uneducated class of people to find this wonderful country. We find a nation of over 1 million people so imbued with the belief and the consequent encouragement and happiness that comes from the understanding of the doctrines of reincarnation, that they make a picturesque section of the world's habitation. In the first place, their firm belief in the doctrines of reincarnation has led them to look upon life as a glorious experience, and to seek every opportunity to express in their social, business, and other affairs the spirit of beauty that exists in the world, and which exists in the soul because of its immortality and its opportunity to live again and again. The result is that they have made their land and their country a veritable paradise. They have constant floral fates, use mystical and mythical rhythmic music in all of their forms of outdoor and indoor entertainment, have modified their religious beliefs gradually to where the natives universally believe now that there is but one God who is loving, merciful, and just, and who is ever trying to awaken within them the spirit of beauty and loveliness, hope and contentment. Their religion does include the existence of an evil demon, or a personification of the evil powers and influences in the world. But this evil influence is set aside by them as being wholly negative and unworthy of their consideration. Their religion includes no gloomy puritanism, but the brightest and sunniest of situations that the human mind can imagine. They are not sun worshippers, despite the fact that they look upon the glorious sun as a symbol of the vitalizing power, eminence, radiance, and all-pervading character of God. In this respect, they are much like the mystics of Egypt in the pre-Christian era, although they have no other similarities to the Egyptians in appearance, language, religion, or characteristics. Their one hopeful understanding is that when transition comes, their body and personalities will be purged of any evil or sins that have been inadvertently committed by an ordeal of fire and water. But this ordeal will take place here on earth, by means of which the fire will cremate their bodies into ashes on the earth, and these ashes will be scattered in the waters of the sea. This element is much like some of the earliest beliefs in the Rosicrucian documents regarding a disposition of the cremated body. They feel that immediately after this purification ordeal, their souls and spirits will ascend to a heavenly kingdom, in which they will exist temporarily for further advice, instruction, and guidance, and that they will return again to earth as reincarnated individuals. What they hope and pray for is to be reincarnated again in this very country where they live now. Their love for their country, their love for its beauty, and its religious practices make it their paradise on earth, and their one universal hope is that the next incarnation will bring them back into the same land again. They also believe that if one of their individuals or citizens willfully or deliberately does evil or commits a deliberate sin, that for the punishment of his soul or spirit will not be sent to some place of fire and brimstone to suffer, but that he will be reincarnated again, and to carry out his karmic punishment, he will be reincarnated in another country rather than the one where he has been and where he hopes to come again. And these people look upon such a reincarnation in another country as the utmost punishment and equal to a life of exile. These people are given to agricultural activities and to every modern form of sanitary and hygienic living to the extent of their abilities to create. They are all very kindly towards one another, take very good care of the aged ones, and their family life is strengthened by firm belief in the divine necessity of dutiful care of their offspring. Nature and the cosmic seems to be especially bountiful to these people with wonderful gifts in things that grow, and they never have suffered or never feared for any danger of famine. They do not have any of the social or economic problems we have in the Western world, inasmuch as there is no unemployment and everyone who can work is occupied with creative production, and those who through age or infirmity cannot work are well looked after by family or community. Their schools teach a very broad education, and the children are encouraged at an early age to interpret everything they see, hear, feel, or sense from the mystical point of view, as well as from the materialistic point of view. They are highly efficient in the use of vowel sounds in their chants and songs, and know the mystical values of musical notes. They have little need for police departments or police regulations, and seldom take any matters into courts of law. Their political form of government is one of broad leniency and kindness and sympathetic understanding. It is their desire to adjust every difference of opinion as peacefully as possible, without any legal litigation. They are always ready to submit any matter of dispute to some other person or to a group of persons for arbitration. They have many so-called holy days or anniversaries of mystical and holy occurrence, and they trace their history back through tradition and recorded notations for a long period. Their older men are quite mystical in appearance, and there is something in the eyes of both the men and women that seems extremely soulful, yet merry and laughing. They treat visitors or tourists who happen to come their way with extreme courtesy and kindness, and are always happy when they find any person of the Western world or of modern civilized countries who understand their doctrines of reincarnation. They do not believe that the soul in man is ever reincarnated into the body of a lower animal or a different species of man. In other words, they have no belief in the false or ridiculous doctrines of transmigration. They believe that each individual in the present incarnation and in every preceding one was placed on earth to accomplish certain good, and to make the world happier and to carry out the constructive, creative, happy ideas of God. They believe that evil exists only as an opposite to goodness, and that it should be avoided, and no one presumes to be evil or to do any evil act except through ignorance or accidental error, knowing that in a future state after transition, they must be purified and purged of any evil they committed, and must make compensation again in another incarnation. They try to make compensation now in their daily lives for any injustice, error, or sin they may commit. For this reason, they frequently ask one another, or ask in their family conversations, if any one of them has done anything that was not right or unfair to others. Even in their commercial contact with people of a civilized country, they will ask whether the transaction was thoroughly satisfactory, and if the buyer of any article is thoroughly satisfied. They do not want to have any deception or accusation of mistreatment resting upon them. They still have many practices and customs that we would call primitive, but which they look upon as God-given and worthy of continuation, since it gives employment to so many of their people. They look upon something made by hand as superior to anything made by machinery, and they like to have the personal element and personal nature enter into the making of anything that is worthwhile. They do not permit persons from other lands or other countries to come to their country and commercialize their abundance of things that grow, or to commercialize their handmade articles. The end of all their actions is not the accumulation of material wealth but the continuance of peace, happiness, and beauty, accompanied with song and music. They like to decorate themselves and look attractive and pretty, as well as decorate their homes and their gardens. They cannot logically understand and give credence to the theories of warfare and international strife and contest. And the taking of another human life seems to them like not only the most sinful, but the most absurd process of human accomplishment. They do not arm themselves for protection inasmuch as they expect no invasion of enemies, and therefore the idea of destroying another person in self-defense seems absurd, for they feel sure that even an enemy could not be reasoned with and made to understand that his act was wrong, and that he would not want to injure any of them. Certainly a nation of people living in their own separate country with such ideals and practices does seem like a paradise on earth, and I hope that someday a group of us, if not all of us, can visit such a land. I'm not promoting a tour of any kind in speaking of these people, and that is why I'm not giving any specified directions as how to reach this strange land or these strange people. But someday I hope we shall have moving pictures and records of the manner in which they live. And I do hope that someday many of us will go as a body and dwell a while in such a paradise among such living mystics. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Rosies. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.